Hello everyone, welcome to an Upgrade Your OET Reading Part B style practice session. My name is Sona and I'm a premium preparation provider of the OET from Bose Learning. So today I thought we would have a look at some Reading Part B type of questions. For those of you who are not familiar with Reading Part B, stay tuned. If you know all about it, then feel free to skip forward to the practice questions. So Reading Part B then is the second out of 3 reading tests. You're given Reading Part B in conjunction with Reading Part C, and you get 45 minutes to do both. Now, we recommend that you spend about 10 to 12 minutes on Part B. You get 6 questions in Part B, and that's because you'll need 35 minutes or so for Reading Part C, which is much longer. As I said, in Reading Part B, you get 6 texts and 6 questions. The texts are all short and they're not connected to each other, but they are all connected to the workplace, and they are about 100 to 150 words long. The kind of thing to expect here are notices that you might find on your staff notice board connected to professional development or instructions. It might be an extract from an email, or it might be from a safety manual. The questions are all multiple choice and they have 3 options. It might be an incomplete sentence and you have to choose the best way to complete it from the 3 options given, or it could be a question and you choose the best answer. In the exam, you have to shade in which one you think it is. Now, the technique here is to maximize your efficiency. Remember, you just get about 2 minutes per text and set of questions. So for this reason, forget about anything you've learned in the IELTS. This is completely different, and go straight to the text. Don't look at the questions yet. I recommend the first thing you do is to read the context. Read the text and understand it. Spend about a minute doing that. Then look at the question prompt. Pick out any qualifying words. What do I mean by that? I mean things like not, all, must. These are all really important and are known as qualifying or absolutes must. Now be careful here, it's worth slowing down just a little bit and making sure you've underlined these so that they stick in your head. Next, try to answer the question yourself. Then, and only then, look at the options and choose the best one, and this is when you can go back to the text, check and eliminate or confirm as necessary. So, some of you may know that I've actually applied to be a vaccinator of the COVID vaccines here in the UK. As I think I've mentioned before, I'm not a healthcare professional, I'm not trained at all, but I thought it would be a nice thing to do. And so I did the training, and I'm very pleased to say that I've passed the training, and now I'm waiting for my medical checkup to make sure that I'm fit and healthy and able to deliver the vaccines. I'll keep you posted about that. But as part of my training, I found some really interesting texts from the Royal College of Nursing. And today I thought we'd look at some texts from the National Minimum Standards and Core Curriculum for Immunisation. Why am I picking these? Well, don't forget that the OET is always based around real life and real workplace scenarios. And what can be more real than these kinds of texts that are actual real texts? So, as I said, I am not a healthcare professional. I'm getting all my information from this website, and I will put the link into the comments below. I'm also not an OET examiner. I am a premium preparation provider. So these are just Reading Part B style questions, and let's look at 3 of them together now. We'll go through technique as well. So these are all from the vaccinator's core curriculum. It's important to keep this in mind and also to look at the context when you're doing your test, because that will give you an idea about what the context is. So first of all, As I said, don't look at the questions, just read through the text. And I recommend you spend about 1 minute reading, understanding. You don't need to read every single word, but try and get the general idea. Here we go. Okay, that's it. Time's up. How did you go along? Well, if it was me reading this, I would pick out that the first bit is all about having a positive attitude to immunisation, to make sure that the vaccine uptake is quite high. We want to have a positive outlook and we want to work to the best possible standards. This next paragraph here is all about the framework and who it's for. And then finally, it's all about the assessment. So those are the main ideas from these 3 paragraphs. Now, let's look at the question. The extract explains that vaccinators should be cheerful and friendly with patients, tested in their understanding and knowledge, or only be registered healthcare staff. Okay, what do you think the extract explains? Let's first of all try and eliminate. Well, yes, they do mention cheerful. They do mention this positive attitude, don't they? But should vaccinators be cheerful towards patients? Well, it's really about being positive rather than cheerful. And having a positive attitude is not really the same thing as being cheerful and friendly. Of course, that's very nice, but it's not what's written in the text. Tested in their understanding and knowledge, well, they did talk about competency assessments and it's recommended. So recommended is very similar to should, so that seems quite likely. Let me just check the next one. Only be registered healthcare staff. Well, no, it's not only registered healthcare staff, it's registered healthcare staff and non-registered staff. Me, in other words. So the answer here is B. Let's try another one together. Again, it's from the core curriculum, and this time it's all about frequency and duration of updates. This is slightly shorter than a normal OET text, but I'm still going to give you a minute to read it and unpack it. Here we go. Okay, how did we go? So this then was all about these annual updates. More frequent updates may be required if substantial changes to programs or policies, etc., are introduced. So let's look at the question. In order to keep vaccinators training up to date, training must be provided several times a year. The important word here is must and several times a year. They do talk about frequent updates. We'll come back to that. Training should be given by the National Immunisation Board. Well, no, they don't talk about that at all. I'm going to ignore that straight away because they talk about the National Immunisation Schedule, and that's for those delivering the vaccine. It's not a board. It should be at least once a year. Let's double check these two, A and C. Annual updates should be provided. Annual, at least once a year. More frequent updates may be required if substantial changes to programs or policies are made. So it's not compulsory, it's only if they are made. So to make sure your training is up to date, training should be given at least once a year. So the answer is C. Last one for you. This is all about evidence of competence. First of all, a minute for you to try and understand the text by yourself. Okay then, so this is all about the importance of keeping a portfolio and showing evidence by it. So what is the purpose of the portfolio then? This time I'm not going to give you the options. I want you to try and tell me in your own words what is the reason, the purpose of the portfolio. What would you say it is? Well, for me, the reason that we should keep a portfolio is so that we can show evidence and we can provide evidence if we need to of continuing professional development. So let's look at our options. The purpose of the portfolio is to provide evidence of training undertaken. Yes, I think that's correct, but let's double check. To show potential employers, well, they do talk about professional development, but it's about revalidation, not finding a new job. To allow vaccinators to reflect on what they've learned. Yes, there is something about reflection here, isn't there? Reflective logs, thinking about how you performed, but that's more personal. It's not really the purpose of the portfolio. It is, of course, to provide evidence of training undertaken. So that comes to the end of our practice. Remember, in the real test you get 6 questions, not 3, but this is just a summary of how we can develop our skills by reading healthcare related text outside of OET. If you like this video, please subscribe to us, and for those of you who are interested, please have a look at our on-demand courses available on Udemy, and I've put in a special code for our reading course into the text box below. Thanks for watching and see you again next time. Take care now. Bye bye.